On today's show, we tune into songs about filling your cups and mocking the midnight as we pour another round on today's Six Picks Music Club. Welcome to Six Picks Music Club, a music podcast for people who can't drink all day unless they start in the morning. Hey, listener, welcome back for a brand new episode of Six Picks Music Club, the music podcast where each episode we pick 6 songs based on a theme. Thanks for being part of the show and listening every other Wednesday to the new episodes. We're on the podcast platform you're listening to right now and all the other ones too, so tell a friend and tell a friend to tell a friend and help us grow that show. Like, subscribe, do all the things, drop us a comment, or contact us on our website, sixpicksmusic.club, and let us know where we screwed up and your favorite tracks that we missed. I'm Dave, and with me are 2 dudes who are shaken, never stirred. Russ and Geoff. Hey guys, how are we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
What's up, guys? I'm not drunk at all. I've stopped drinking during our podcast. For the first, I don't know, how many of them are there?
This is number 46.
For 44 of them, I was drinking, and now this is my second one.
And you're not tonight? You're not drinking on the episode where we're talking about drinking?
That's correct.
So, hey, listener, turns out we got a show ID this week to get into the clubhouse or know somebody with the password. Geoff, any of those drunks in the laneway give you a password today?
Hi, my name's Geoff, and I'm a potaholic.
Hi, Geoff. All right, everybody come on in. Keep working, it works. Keep coming back, it works. Let's pop in there. All right, so tonight we are talking about songs about drinking or getting drunk. That's our theme, and oh my gosh, there are a bunch of them to choose from. Like literally every genre of music has a song about sipping on the hard stuff. But we've got 6 that I think we all enjoy and some classics that you know, and maybe some you'll hear for the first time. But one thing they absolutely all have in common is alcohol. So, are you guys familiar with the history of alcohol in America?
Yes.
Is this something you have delved into at all? Yes? Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, let's just get started with the picks, I guess.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us a little bit about the history of it.
You asked a yes-no question, which is
fair.
A terrible way to start
fair.
an interview. And
do you want to be here right now? No.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Hey, Geoff, what could you tell us about the history of American culture and alcohol from the colonial days?
Hey, let's go back even farther than that. Let's talk about the role of alcohol in the history of humanity. You want to do that?
Oh, yeah, baby. Slow down. Put some music on.
Okay, there's an interesting research question, which is,
okay,
we kind of know that drinking is not great for us because it gives us hangovers, it can dehydrate us, it can make us feel poor, it can make us throw up, it could kill us, right? Binge drinking. We know that.
Sure.
People that drink way too much alcohol and become alcoholic have problems. So, why is it that humans drink? Right? Those problems would have existed all the way back to the beginning of drinking, which, as far as we could tell, is thousands of years ago, and probably came with Homo sapiens sapiens. So, like, our version of human has always drunk. And it goes back in the record. You could see old bas reliefs on cave walls of people turning up the wide end of a horn. And it's not to blow a horn, it's to drink out of it. You know, they've been drinking for a long time. Probably real shitty liquor originally, but then got better and better over time. We've always done it.
Yeah, and there's like another sapien like putting, Gnarls Barkley Crazy on in the corners, just like everyone's throwing down.
I may be great. Or it's like, oh, baby, you got what I need. Would you say he's just a friend? Would you just turning them up?
Amazing.
I think there's an interesting research question, which is like, if all the news that's coming out now too, it's like, oh, drinking more than 2 drinks a week can give you cancer and it leads to all these health problems. We should eradicate it, blah, blah, blah. We should be more temperate. There was a prohibition movement in the United States that was attached to religion, and it didn't work. You know, people insist on drinking. They continue to drink and they love it. So why? Like what evolutionary purpose or otherwise did it serve? So it turns out there's 3 different theories about this. Okay. Number 1 is called the hijack theory.
Okay. Is that a friend named Jack who's just got a giant spliff? What are we doing?
That's it. Man, you really nailed it. Hijack theories are similar to like drinking is to our man, I'm not doing well so far. Drinking is to our
Are you sure you're
caloric.
sober tonight? You're not drinking tonight? Because you
Try number 3.
already-
Try number 3. Drinking is to our caloric intake what porn is to our sex drive, right? So hijack theory sees alcohol and other intoxicating drugs as something that just happens to trigger our reward systems in our brains that were originally designed by evolution to encourage adaptive behavior like sex. So what that means is we were programmed to do a certain thing, right? And then this is a way of short-circuiting it. Alcohol is a way of getting us to the point where we're rewarding our brains.
They're hacking.
Even if
hacking
it's not with
ourselves.
the thing, it's a hacking of the brain, a hijacking, right? Theory
Okay.
number 2 is, you could call it the hangover theory, which is meant to be a play on words by the theorists who think about this stuff. But this sees it's not an accidental hijacking of our reward system, but rather something that originally served an adaptive purpose, but one that's outlived its usefulness. So alcohol was originally helpful because it delivers calories to us, right? And it also preserves liquid in a way that's useful. So, for example, when they were building the basilica in Florence, and they built this enormous dome, the largest dome that had ever been built at the time, designed by Brunelleschi. They were building it while it was like they were building it like while they were climbing up all these scaffoldings and stuff like that. If they drank water during that process, the builders, they would have gotten sick from dysentery. 1 out of 10 of them, they would have shit themselves. They would have gotten dizzy. The water was disgusting. So they drank wine while they were building the dome because it kept them hydrated, and it wasn't going to make them sick. So by the time the day was up building the dome, they were fucking wasted every time, and they would
And
some
they
of them would fall off.
Love their job.
which
They're
is
like, this is the
Yeah.
best fucking job.
It does sound like a pretty good job, except some of them fell off because they were drunk.
Wow.
I feel
That's
like,
like me,
that's been represented in modern startups where they've got the kegerator over by the ping pong table.
To make the job fun, not to keep the water from getting you sick.
To make the job more fun. I gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
the idea behind the hangover theory is that the purpose of alcohol has gone away. Like, we don't need it because we have pure water, and we don't need it for calories because we have potato chips, but we still, it's from a previous time. It's like still lasting today. The purpose of alcohol has kind of carried over into the current moment. So those are 2 theories, but both of those theories treat alcohol as if it's an aberrant behavior, like there's something wrong with it. So there's a guy named Edward Slingerland, cool name,
Slingerland?
that wrote a book called Drunk, and he argues that we would not have civilization without intoxication. That is actually served a very useful social function, and it's culturally important, and that's why it has a lasting effect. The other 2 theories are actually wrong. So he uses evolutionary sociology to describe it. It enhances our creativity, it alleviates our stress, it helps us build trust, and it gets us to cooperate with strangers. And in that way, it serves a very useful social function. So that could explain why we continue to drink, even though there are drawbacks, even though, maybe it causes cancer all of a sudden or whatever, all this stuff. It's not just that it was an accident. or as a way to short circuit our brains, or that it kind of like mirrored the smell of fruit, which triggers the human brain to be like, oh, I've got ripe fruit, yum, calories. It's socially important. Isn't that interesting though?
Yeah.
Like it's so common that I've always thought about it as like it's a universal vice, but maybe it's not a universal vice. It's a vice for some people that can't handle it. Humans actually metabolize alcohol quite well compared to other animals, so it's like we're almost made to consume alcohol and deal with it. Like if you have a couple of beers, you're fine,
Yeah.
It makes you feel pretty good. A glass of wine, it's good. You feel a good buzz, you're fine. You metabolize it away by the next morning, easy. Whereas other animals really can't do that. And so...
No, I was literally like doing shots of whiskey with our cat the other night, and he was just like showing his ass to the entire neighborhood for a week. I was like, come on, man. Like, we're just going to have a night. You don't have to... He lost it.
You guys are playing poker?
He is a terrible poker player. He lost all of his kibble to me. Too bad I don't eat kibble, but whatever. Yeah.
There's this fun quotation from 1814. Strong drink in some form is the remedy for every sickness, the cordial for every sorrow. It must grace the festivity of the wedding. It must enliven the gloom of the funeral. It must cheer the intercourse of friends and enlighten the fatigue of labor. Success deserves a treat and disappointment needs it. The busy drink because they're busy. The idle drink because they have nothing else to do. The farmer must drink because his work is hard. The mechanic because his employment is sedentary and dull. It's warm, men drink to be cool. It's cool, they drink to be warm. I love that.
That's amazing. I feel festive. I feel ready to hear some music about this thing. I love the idea of like the community aspect of imbibing with people and sort of breaking down those barriers. And definitely have I wandered into a social engagement and quickly made a new friend over a cocktail or a conversation spurned from a cocktail. So it's always in music. A study from 2016 averaged just under 25% of the songs on the Billboard Hot 100 year-end charts talked about alcohol.
No shit.
So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. It's interesting how like the different genres sort of mention alcohol in the context. So like hip hop and rap, they've got it in this context of luxury and celebration. It's always high-end alcohol like Patron, Hennessy. Country music is Crystal. Right. Country music is whiskey and beer. Context is social gathering or just like personal reflection. And then pop music is just like it's all part of a party, fun, glamorous lifestyle, So I think we'll touch on a couple of those tonight. Let's get into the picks then. First up, we've got Geoff. Jeffro, what's the first round tonight, sir?
This is one bourbon, one shot, one beer off of the 1977 record by George Thorogood and the Destroyers. The album's called George Thorogood and the Destroyers.
So I stop in a local bar, people. I go to the bar. I rent my coat. I call a bartender. I say, look, man, come down here. He got down there. So what you want? One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. Well, I ain't seen my baby since I don't know when. I've been drinking bourbon, whiskey, scotch and gin. Gonna get high.
How long into the song was it before the chorus happened?
4 minutes? Yeah, 4 minutes, I think.
It's already the length of an entire song by the time my man sings the... But there's something about that and about when it finally hits, the one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, that I think encapsulates what it's like to like go through a whole day and then you go out and you have your first sip of beer and it's like Frank the Tank where it's like, oh, it's so good when it first hits your lips. But like, it makes me feel like oh man, it's been a day, and I'm gonna have a bourbon, a scotch, and a beer, and like the way that would jolt you, and you would suddenly feel great, is the way that I feel when I hear that part of the song. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's very pleasing, and it's a good chorus. You know, it's an excellent tune. That's made from 2 John Lee Hooker songs. So it's 2 John Lee Hooker songs. So the first part of it that's about the landlady, it's technically a medley, and that's called the House Rent Boogie. And then the other part is One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer, which you're right, was a cover that John Lee Hooker did of a Rudy Toombs song that was recorded by Amos Milburn, who are 2 people I've never heard of before. And so this was done.
And then I saw that George Thorogood then reworked that narrative that that John Lee Hooker did, and like added like getting kicked out of the apartment and stuff as well, to like he like expanded upon it.
Yeah, and there are little fun things that he does, like and that she was so nice, but it's also like she's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah.
Don't you feel like this would have worked well for your appropriation episode? I feel like this would have been a good pick for that.
There's so much that's appropriated that it's like, how are we even gonna, find exemplary too? But to that point, George Thorogood, who was, any guesses how old your boy was when he recorded this song?
27.
He was 27 with that raspy ass voice. It's all deep. He was 27 years old. He was basically a child. But he called John Lee Hooker and he said, hey, I'd like to combine these 2 songs in a recording. And John Lee Hooker was like, all right, sounds good, do it. And like was real cool about it.
It's like, fucking white boy.
Yeah.
It ain't ever gonna work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, give it your best shot, Whitey.
He also might have been thinking, I wonder if he had writing credits on the record, John Lee Hooker, because then it just means he gets paid if it turns into a hit, So it's like, whatever, fine. But it's weird to think it was just 11 years after John Lee Hooker did it for the first time. So that'd be like covering a song from 2014, which is like...
Yeah, but but it played on, I bet, a completely different radio station that none of these white people ever heard.
Yeah, well, you mean John Lee Hooker's original blues version? It's so weird because this predated ZZ Top doing LaGrange, which is Billy Gibbons doing a John Lee Hooker impression.
Right.
This is before, I think that was... I need to be fact checked on this, but I think that was 1979 that came out.
Actually, LaGrange came out in 1973, so continue on with your thought, but just know that you're wrong.
So what's happening in the late 70s is that and early 80s is John Lee Hooker's getting a bit of a like kind of a resurgence in the culture at that time. He was maybe getting a little bit famous off of some of this stuff. So it's probably bittersweet. It's not his own song that people are listening to, but John Lee Hooker was plenty famous.
Oh yeah, no, that record, The Healer, is fantastic. I love that record.
The talk today is really about drinking, and I think I think this song, more than any other song, captures the relief of drinking when you go and it's like you have all these things building up. We were talking about, paying the government our tax money or whatever it is, or like your kids have been wiping you out all through the week, or, your lady's been riding your ass to paint the bathroom or whatever. Everything's piling up on you, and then you just for 5 minutes get to go and you have your bourbon, scotch, and beer, before the last call.
I read that some bars you can just go to and order a Thorogood and they give you all 3.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I read that it was like it was last call, and he was like trying to get as much he could down his gullet before, his lady walked out the door.
Yeah, last call for alcohol. Yeah, exactly. And so he's like, I like the combo too, because It sounds so good. Like, I would never think I'm going to have a bourbon and a scotch because I need 2 different kinds of whiskey and then a beer. Like I would just probably have 1 bourbon and a beer. Yeah, or 1 scotch and a beer. I would never think, I need both of those because I can't decide between them in a beer. And then I'm going to be on the moon.
See, it feels like the scotch is sort of like the amplifier, like bourbon. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got that. But then scotch, okay, we're going to really like take it up a notch. And then, I don't know, it feels like the beer is just to kind of like come back to earth a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It seems like a lot.
Do you think you drink the bourbon down faster and then you sip the scotch and then drink the beer?
I figure if it's last call, you've only got, 10 minutes to crush all 3, so
they're all fast drinks.
Fast drinking scotch for me.
Yeah, it's a beer chaser, right? It's like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot beer. I'm gonna shoot bourbon, shoot scotch, which is ironically the thing that my wife likes to do when we've run out of the shooting whiskey. Is she likes to find the scotch or the really nice bourbon and just shoot that instead. So.
Oh boy. In the Amos Milburn song, it's 1 scotch, 1 bourbon, 1 beer. The 2 are inverted. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So maybe that's progressively down, kind of scaling things back. I'll start heavy, then bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think scotch is heavier than bourbon. That's just me. But
it's peaty and bourbon is sweet.
Yeah.
And so to me, the sweetness of bourbon makes it like thicker than scotch. Scotch is very like, like it's like the alcohol is like evaporating off of your tongue is the kind of feel of it to me. Whereas like bourbon is like sticking to your throat and to your ribs, like.
No, scotch is always a sipper for me, but bourbon can be a sipper or a shooter depending on the bourbon, but like Jim Beam is technically a bourbon.
Yeah.
The world's finest bourbon, so they say.
Dude, because I worked at the bar that sold the most Jim Beam in the entire country, a bar that you're well acquainted with too, Dave. I used to drink the shit out of that stuff, and it's still my base bourbon, like my my foundation, and one that like if I'm just drinking to like have fun and get drunk and I'm not concerned about the quality, then I just go to that Beam because it like goes down real easy for me. Like I know it very well, but yeah, it's definitely like a drink it down quickly kind of a bourbon versus
we're not
the other ones that we have in our bar. Yeah, like the other ones that you're drinking, on one, like just one ice cube or neat and you're sipping it, like that's not for Beam. You don't want to do that with Beam.
So if you drink so much Beam that you pass out and then piss yourself, would that be a wet Beam?
Oh, I think it would.
Very nice. Well done.
It would.
Well done.
If you're listening to hardcore music and gardening, is that guardcore that you're engaged in?
Quite possibly.
That's so guardcore, dude. Anyway, I always liked George Thorogood.
Right.
Oh, so like, what about like songs about nachos and shit? It's just like called lardcore. It's like that mukbang, but music. That's true.
It's so gross. The word lard is such a tough word. I don't know when I was like, oh man, it's grotesque. I think it's from the movie Stand By Me. Stand By Me. Yeah, remember that scene when it's like a dream sequence or a story that he's telling, and then they're acting it out. But it's a guy that's
eating
in a pie eating contest, and I think his name's Lardo.
Lardass.
Yeah, and then he throws up over the entire crowd, and I was like,
yeah,
lard is gross. Like I think that just when I was a kid, I was like, lard, gross. It means that. I don't like that.
The way it comes off the tongue just feels bad.
Yeah.
Also, which is kind of funny because when we give gifts as a family, like the 4 of us, that's how I sign it. because it's like if I take the first 4 letters of each of our name, like my 2 kids' name and my wife's name and my name, we can create the word lard. It's either lard or Darl, and I never signed Darl, so I always sign it as lard, which is fantastic.
Darl.
That's awesome.
Darl is like a trailer park name, isn't it? Hey, Darl. The fuck? Why'd you piss on the campfire? God damn it, Darl.
Did you hear the story about George Thorogood in 2013 when he was on stage with this radio personality, Andre Gardner, and it was like Gardner was hosting like a pre-show like artist spotlight or something with Thorogood at the Keswick Theater in Glendale, Pennsylvania, and during the conversation apparently like something just pissed him off. Andre Gardner has no idea what exactly happened, but Thorogood ended up pushing him like off stage and telling him to get out of here in front of the whole audience. And then apparently just like had this like amazing Q&A with the audience afterwards. But and the guy's like, dude, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what I did, but he like fucking shoved me off stage. And like,
can you watch it? Is it on Vidya?
Apparently there's a photographer caught a picture of it. So
that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's when he was a 63-year-old man still getting upset like that. That's crazy. He's I always heard that he was kind of a mensch. So maybe the guy just did something to set him off and it was justified, but he's also I think he's from Boston, right? And you know how people from Boston are. Do we have any Boston listeners out there? They just don't put up with any bullshit, and they're quick to call it out.
That's just like the Northeast like mentality, I think. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. I think it's mass hole is what they say, like Massachusetts.
Oh, a mass hole.
Yeah,
I saw a TikTok video of a dude in Boston. He was driving. There was like a car accident, and nobody was really hurt, but it was in an intersection, and he was driving past it. And there were like 2 women standing outside that were like looking at the wreckage. They were obviously in one of the cars. And he goes, hey, you're not allowed to park there.
You can't park your car there.
Yeah. And they turn there like, shut the fuck up. Like that. Like they just immediately go berserker on him. It's so funny, dude. Have you seen that, Dave?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I love it.
You can't park your car there. And it's like,
you can't park there.
That's awesome.
Just like in the ditch.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that song is greatness. Thank you, Frodo. Next round is to me. I'm buying the next round. We're going to take it back to Texas and grab some cold ones. Let's give a listen to a track by the great Todd Snider off the 2003 album Near Truths and Hotel Rooms. Let's go on a beer run.
A couple of frat guys from Abilene drove out all night to see Robert Earl Keen at the K-Pigs. Wine and soiree dance, wore baseball caps, khaki pants. They wanted cigs, so to save some money, they got one off a hippie that smelled kind of funny. The next thing they knew, they was both really hungry and pretty thirsty too. B-double-E-double-R-U-N, beer run. B-double-E-double-R-U-N, beer run. All we need is a 10 and a 5 or a car and a key and a sober driver. B-double-E-double-R-U-N, beer run.
Good stuff. What year did that come out, that song?
Yeah, that's a fun little tune. So that came out in 2003 off the album Near Truths and Hotel Rooms. And Todd Snider's one of these artists, Texas country artists that I discovered after I moved down to Austin and started listening to, local Austin radio and kind of getting into this idea of Texas country in a way that I hadn't really appreciated before. But growing up, I worked out a scout camp with a bunch of dudes from A&M, and this very much aligns with that experience of hanging out with these good old boys and just trying to grab some beers on our night off going into town. But, all right, a little background on Todd Snider. He originally from Oregon, moved to San Marcos, Texas in 1986 after he dropped out of the Santa Rosa Junior College in Southern California, where he did very little but learned how to play the harmonica. So in San Marcos, he got to see Jerry Jeff Walker, another Texas country great, at Green Hall. If you've been down to Float the River, you've eaten at Green Hall maybe. But seeing that performance, he decided he was going to become a songwriter himself. So he decided he needed to get a guitar and learn how to play it. So he did that for a little while. He gigged around Central Texas, Austin, San Marcos, New Braunfels. He eventually got a demo tape to this guy, the singer-songwriter Keith Sykes up in Memphis, who just like happened to be the brother-in-law of this woman who Todd's dad knew. So Keith had written some songs for Jimmy Buffett, and eventually Todd flew up there and met with him because Keith was like, oh, you got some promise. And he got him connected to Jimmy Buffett. He went out and opened a show for Jimmy Buffett in California and was actually signed to his first contract with Margaritaville Records. And so from there, you know, again, he worked with a couple other people, John Prine, you know, one of my heroes. They collaborated on a number of songs, and he eventually signed on Prine's Oh Boy Records label for a couple of records. And while he never really achieved superstardom success, he has written a bunch of songs and been recorded by a whole list of folks that I won't make a huge list out of because I know Geoff loves that. But if I did...
Thank God. Jesus. Talk about drinking. Fuck.
I did actually make a list. So Jack Ingram, Jerry Jeff Walker, Charlie Robinson, Cross Canadian Ragweed, Billy Joe Shaver, Robert Earl Keen, Pat Green, and Loretta Lynn all covered songs that Todd Snider wrote. Now, the song itself is about friends that are at a show and they're underage and they want to go get some beers and how do they do that? They try a couple of ways. They try the fake ID route and that doesn't work. They end up with getting a joint from some hippies, and then they get another hippie to go buy them beers, and they're having a grand old time, and they get back to the concert, get back to their seats just in time to sing that glorious refrain from The Road Goes On Forever and the Party Never Ends at the Robert Earl Keen Show. And it's, I think it's a great song about just kind of hanging with your dudes, hanging with your friends, and enjoying the afternoon together, whether that involves a little wacky tobacco or cold beers or not. You're engaging in that social element, and it's pretty fun.
It definitely makes me like, it makes me long for the days of yore where you're just like, your main goal for the whole night is just to like drink beers with your buddies. And like maybe you get into this or that, but like we're at a show and then we'll go to something after the show and then we're going to stay up all night playing video games or music or whatever the hell. Like, it's just gonna be a long one. I really, like all middle-aged men, miss those days.
Which is why we do this podcast. Yeah. No, it's great. Like, it's a really playful, fun track that I think really highlights that idea of like, hey, we're on an adventure, we're having fun, we're off to do something that maybe it's a little dangerous, maybe it's not entirely legal, but we're gonna have a good time. There is a little sort of side note story about this song that involves how ultimately Todd Snider met Garth Brooks, because Todd Snider's, it's summertime, he's at home, he's got the MLB package on TV, he's watching baseball. And his agent calls him up and he was like, hey, so there's a guy who wrote a song, the beer run song that you wrote. There's another guy who wrote a song that sounds like that. It's like he wrote a beer run song too. And Todd Snider's just like, okay, I don't care, whatever. I'm watching baseball. He's like, okay, it's Garth Brooks though. And he's like, well, do I have to come to town? Do I have to come to Nashville to sort this out? Like, I just want to stay. I have everything I need here. I don't care. I wrote 11 other songs on the record. Like, does it matter? He's like, I'll see what I can do. I could sort it out. And so the agent calls him back and he's like, it's fine. I figured everything out. He's like, okay, great, cool, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm watching baseball. And so like a year later, he's at this award show. He got asked to like come and sing a song for some musician who's getting inducted in some Hall of Fame, something. And they're backstage eating the celery and the carrots, and and having their complimentary drink. And the buddy he's with is like, hey, do you know who that is? That's that guy who wrote that If Tomorrow Never Comes song. You know, that's Garth Brooks. He's like, oh, I love that song. I got to go say hi to him. So he walks over and he's talking to Garth Brooks. He's like, he's singing the song to him. He's like, I love this song. Garth says, like, you gave me a lot of trouble last summer because you wrote a song I wrote. He's like, no, I wrote that song. You took it from me. He's like, okay, well. And so then Todd wrote his own If Tomorrow Never Comes version that is about, you can't steal your song and I'm going to just steal yours.
So does Garth Brooks have a song called Beer Run?
Yes. He's singing with Jim Jones.
The cult leader?
No, Tom Jones.
Tom Jones? George Jones. It's fucking George Jones. Sorry.
George Jones, not Tom Jones. All the Joneses.
Oh, dude, it's a song with the greatest writer of alcoholism that's ever existed, George Jones, and we're all slipping. Okay, so George Jones and Garth Brooks have a song together called Beer Run, but it's entirely different than this song, or it's basically the same?
Similar. I did read that Todd Snider says that he believes Garth Brooks unintentionally fucked up country music.
Oh, yeah? Do tell.
That his immense success unintentionally fucked up country music by inspiring imitators, similar to how Kurt Cobain impacted rock music and then, I guess, had imitators as well or something like that. So
it's funny, like Todd Snider, his only real charting song was a song where he was making fun of grunge music. Talking Seattle Grunge Rock Blues is a song about his grunge band that just refuses to play music. They just like get out there and they're too punk to actually like even pick up their instruments. And the A&R person is like, oh man, you guys are wild. I've never seen anything like you. I'm totally going to sign you. I don't know how I'm going to put out a record with no music on it though. And then they got asked to, go play like MTV Unplugged, and they walked out and they refused to play an unplugged version of a song that they refused to record on electric instruments, and everybody went crazy. So, but yeah, I think that was like an indie kind of
that's funny
chart thing that went off in 1994 maybe. When he was out in California. But anyway, Todd Snider's a funny dude. He's got another song I really love where he talks about the that song Louie Louie by the Kingsmen, and how it kind of created this whole sort of like chaos of what are they saying, and is this about sex, is this about whatever, and all the Tipper Goreisms of the world. But go check him out.
By the way, does Todd Snider have a record called Peace Queer?
He does.
Is he a peace queer, or is it just
he's like, get out of my state, I'm country, peace queer?
Peace queer?
But I think let's take a quick break. It's a good time to pee if you've got your beers moving through you. And while we do, we've got a trailer for an Album Nerds podcast. There are pod swap tonight. So let's check that out. We'll be right back.
Drop the needle on the Album Nerds podcast.
Just the Album Nerds.
Just Album Nerds.
Join Andy, Don, and Dude each week as they discuss albums from themes chosen by the Wheel of Musical Discovery.
Heavy metal guitar virtuoso. Double albums. TV rap, punk rock. The top 10 albums of 1986.
Uncover hidden gems, revisit classics, and hear fresh takes on your favorite records.
Exile on Main Street.
Some of what country music can do best is that storytelling.
This is a messy album for sure.
I just want to hear Floyd in everything, I think.
Born in the USA.
And it sounds great overall as an album. I'm just not moved by it.
The Album Nerds podcast. Three guys talking music.
This is what we call freestyling. Yes. That's what we call freestyling. No one else would call it that. Other people would call it find another podcast to listen to. Okay, so
give it a spin wherever you find podcasts and albumnerds.com.
All right, let's pass the mic to Russ. What do you got for us, Russ, for your pick here tonight as we pour one out and drink it down?
My pick tonight is called Wasted Again by Turbo Negro off their 2005 album Party Time.
My body is a temple. body is a temple. My body is a temple. And tonight I'm dead. Wasted again. Tanked up on the juice and gin. Wasted again. Alright. You are wasted again. I'll never ever feel this good again. Wasted again. Fuck yeah.
Okay, so Turbo Negro formed in Oslo, Norway during the winter of 1988. They initially embraced a distorted, tormented sound reminiscent of contemporaries like Halo of Flies and like early Mudhoney. Their early releases showcased this abrasive style, which they dubbed death punk. The band's provocative name, combining Latin roots for fast and black, reflected their dark, high-energy ethos. And despite early lineup changes and a U.S. tour plagued by misfortune, so like they landed in Minneapolis and their guitarist was beaten by locals
Oh, God.
and hospitalized. But they went on tour without him anyway, and then they failed to gain traction. They ended up having to go home after 3 weeks. So it wasn't looking too good for him.
That's brutal.
Yeah. The mid-90s marked a transformative period for Turbo Negro, adopting a flamboyant denim-clad aesthetic and incorporating elements of like 1970s glam rock and punk. And then they evolved into a more refined yet equally irreverent unit. And so albums like Ass Cobra and their critically acclaimed Apocalypse Dudes solidified their reputation as architects of a unique blend of death punk and anthemic rock. However, internal struggles, particularly with vocalist Hank's battles with addiction and mental health, led to a hiatus in 1999. And then this break inadvertently fueled their cult status, and tribute albums emerged in kind of ensuring that their influence endured, right? So they reunited in 2002 and they capitalized on their newfound global following, which is wild because they broke up and then they got famous, but then they got back together and have been going strong since. But 4 years ago, Hank Von Hell, who is the vocalist, he died. There was no cause of death, but his manager denied that it was suicide, later stating that his body finally gave up after decades of drug and alcohol abuse, which seems suspect, to like be like, it wasn't suicide, but so did it maybe OD? I don't know. Or just, I don't know. He finally tore that
Heart exploded. Yeah.
Yeah. he finally tore the temple down or whatever.
Cause of death, exploded heart.
Right.
From 50 years of cocaine abuse.
But that leads me to my track, which is Wasted Again. And, which I guess is an autobiography of sorts for him. So I think this song is fun to listen to, and it reminds me of my time during college where I don't believe I ever went more than a day without drinking. And if I did, those days were rare, right? Like it was a lot of drinking in college. That's where I lived, I think. And wherever the alcohol was is where you would find me. It was always about like how early we could start and how late we could go before you just couldn't do it anymore. Dave, you were part of this.
Yes.
Our guest off Darkness, Smitty, was also part of that.
Guilty as charged.
We were not kind to ourselves back then, and just not at all. Every night in college, I think, is best described by the bridge of the song where Hank's repeating his body's a temple, and then Tonight I'll Tear It Down, which is what I feel like was the goal of every single day. Just to see like how fucking obliterated could we get every day. I don't know why that was what we did, but that is how it was, and it was fun. We did that a lot.
And it was the shit.
And I was in the throes of like divorce guy, so I was happy to oblige any opportunity to tear a temple down.
Right. We were just like the
Divorce guy. Call him up. He's always there. Divorce guy. He's your friend again. We're all very aware he's divorced guy.
But I thought, like there's like river floating and then going out after the river floating, and then that going out turned into like some kind of like impromptu house party, you just like I've just been drinking.
Oh man.
God damn it!
The
That
days
sounds like
of
so
the
much
party
fun.
after the river was always a disaster. Were you there the time that like we tried to go into Green Mesquite Barbecue, Barton Springs, like after a day at the river, and we walked in and the waitress was just like, I am not serving you any alcohol. And we're like, we didn't even say anything. They're like, you're 86, you're done. And like, we just
She's
sat down. It's like,
I smelled
like,
your
I'm not
fucking
dealing with any of this.
stink, and I ain't serving you.
The stove
So we went
just
down the road
exploded
to
from
Uncle
all the
Billy's.
fucking fumes that you guys
We went like the 2 blocks down to Uncle Billy's barbecue and walked in. The guy was like, "Yeah, come on in. Like, you guys need some
Fuck
shots."
yeah, bro. Yeah.
We were like, "This is the best pulled pork."
That's funny.
You guys do
Yeah.
Jaeger bombs or what? It's like, this place is way better than the old bitch place 2 doors down.
Oh man, those were the days. I actually firmly blame that apartment. You're in Thomas's apartment. Not Thomas.
Tyson.
Tyson. It was you and Tyson that lived together?
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, I blame that time for like the reason why I don't like playing poker, because like I would just get my ass kicked.
Those poker nights were brutal. They went on for way too long. Like we needed to have like an ante that like just kept increasing and things like that. They, just like where we ran out of money fast. We didn't, and it went on forever. And it was, they were tough, man. And then I just remember like waking up drunk, not after, but sometimes after poker night, but just any time really, and being like, oh man, this is going to turn into a really bad hangover. So if I start drinking right now, I can get ahead of it, Yeah. And just like keep that going on. And you can do that for like 2 days or something before finally you're like, okay.
Sure.
The sun finally catches you.
And then you need cocaine. Yeah. Right. And when the cocaine stops working, then you need the meth.
Yeah, dude, we should do a reunion river float.
Let's go, dude.
It'd be super fun to do it like once the kids are old enough to have beers without dying. Like that would be fun. We're old as shit.
Like
going down.
The kids can have beers, or like we can have beers and the kids won't die. Because I feel like I could do that now.
Kind of both of those things. My kids would like. 2 of them would just almost certainly die still.
One's definitely dying. One is definitely going to die.
One of them has absolutely
you need to trim
no
the
chance.
fat of your family. Yeah. This is a great time to go to the river.
We should invent a baby inner tube for floating the river. It had like a shade on it. It's indestructible. Yeah. It could flip over and flip back. Like we could, dude. Think it. We would open up the fucking baby float the river market.
It's untapped.
Were you there when Dickie D floated the river with us? Were you on that trip, Dave?
I wish. Jesus Christ. No, I wasn't.
For a listener, we got to let them know that this is your dad you're talking about.
Yeah, this is my dad, Dickie D, the infamous. Dude, Dickie D rolls in and he's like, God, dude, he was probably only 45-ish, 40 to 48 in that range. So he wasn't much older than I am now, though he was a giant man and he looked way older than me right now. Like he just, but he rolled up and he was still ready to party. Like he was still like, I don't have my wife here. I'm with Geoff and his friends. I'm going to have a good time. So he's like, what do I do? And I was like, well, you get in a tube and you float, and then whatever you want to drink, you can tie, you can have an ice chest and another inner tube, or you could put stuff in our ice chest, or you could, I don't know, bring a bottle and attach that to your tube. Just do whatever feels right. And he's like, okay, yeah, I gotcha. And so he shows up and he has one of those like river in sport. It's kind of like Russ's thing, except it was a flat top, kind of like thermos jug that was 1 gallon, and it has a little nozzle that spins out on the top of it, and then you turn it up and it goes like when you drink it. You know what I mean? It was like
a thermos.
Yeah, like a thermos, like a giant thermos, right? That's a gallon size.
You take to football practice or whatever. Yeah.
Your boy shows up, Dickie D, and that whole he has no water, he has no food. He has nothing except that thermos and a rope on it. Okay. And that thermos was full of Long Island iced tea that he had mixed. So he brought his contribution to his own party, for the most part, was 1 gallon of Long Island iced tea. So I was like, okay. And so you're just, he's like, I can borrow Miller Lights from y'all if I need to. I was like, that's true. We have tons of Miller Lights, so that's no problem. Like 2 hours in, he was just completely passed out on his inner tube. Like, I mean, just, and that little thing was just bobbing behind him in the water, boom, boom, boom. And he was like, and I eventually, when I started to get drunk and I was having fun, I was also having to guide him down the rapids. Like, you know, some of them are perilous, and you could turn upside down. If he had done that, he would just been.
I always got dumped out during those little rapids and like dragged across the bottom for a bit. Like I have never made it through a rafting session without like just getting my ass beat like down one of those rapids one way or another.
Luckily he weighed like 3 bills, so he's so heavy on top of that tube that it was like to turn him over would have been. It was like turning over like his own pontoon
boat. Yeah, he's just
there's no chance. There's no chance he's gonna really flip. But I still was having to ride down those, holding him like just to make sure nothing like weird happened, and he suddenly flipped over, and then he's just a manatee sliding down.
Then you're trying to save some dude who's 300 pounds, trying to save. You're like, sorry, bro, you're drowning. Like, we're just gonna watch you
sorry,
go.
Dad, you're dead.
Hey, Mom.
Dad. He had a bit of Long Island ice. So I looked. We were getting towards the end of the float, and he had drunk like more than half of it. And I'm sure he gave other people nips and stuff. But then we were like an hour out. It was a 6-hour ride. An hour out, he comes to, and he just splashed water on his face and just went right back after it. And so by the time we got there, he was like dead drunk again. Like he got drunk twice on the trip. It was amazing.
I remember going tubing with Smitty, and maybe it was Tyson. I really think it was Smitty though, because he had like a baking sheet of like tuna fish sandwiches that he'd made, and he was like, "Yeah, I brought these tuna fish, but like made into little tea sandwiches, right?" Like,
oh yeah, he always did. He would make a whole like slew for everyone. Every time you wanted Smitty to go on the he wanted to go rafting with you go down the river because he would always bring the food. Always.
That's awesome.
Like he would spend a whole day preparing it, and then like you could just eat whatever you wanted. He didn't care. Like he brought it for everyone.
Dude, and is there any better food? I think we've talked about this before. This is overtilled, but just tiny sandwiches as a food. Like you just if you're drinking, you're out in the hot sun, and then you just got tiny turkey sandwiches to nosh, and you could eat like 15 of them, and you're just like, oh my god, yes.
I was at an area of my life where tuna fish was not part of my routine. I was not into that at all. I was like, no, thank you. But we got to that lunch spot, and I swear to God, that was the best damn tuna fish sandwich I ever ate. It was delicious.
He cooks well and makes food well. Like he does good stuff.
He's a good cook. Yeah.
I feel like there are like alternatives to the way that the way that we prepare tuna fish sandwiches. Like I want people to try a different way, and maybe Smitty does this, but there's just the mixture of like, what is it? Is it like Miracle Whip and fucking sweet pickles and tuna? Like that, whatever combination that is gross. But like tuna is good. So let's just try some new combos. Like we don't have to do the same mix.
When I was trying to be healthier at one point and eating tuna, instead of like mixing in like mayo, I would mix in avocado, which
delicious.
Provides that fat, but like and the creaminess, but also like it was like, this is great. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then they used to make, I think McCormick or somebody used to make this stuff called Hot Shot, and it was like a blend of like black pepper and red pepper or cayenne. I don't know, some kind of mix of pepper.
Dude. See, now we're talking. That's the kind of out of box thinking that I want around the tuna fish. Yeah, put some Hot Shot, put some fucking avocado, mix that together. It doesn't have to be sweet white cream, just jizzy. Oh, I know. We'll already take something that's kind of like a basic fishy taste, and we'll mix it together with jizzy cream and sweet pickles, and you'll love it. It's like, why? Who? One person thought of this in like 1974, and then everybody's like, this is the only way that you can make a tuna sandwich. Yeah. Nobody ever is going to fucking change this. You hear me?
It's like the same person who invented carrot raisin salad, you know?
Oh,
exactly, dude.
Yep.
Just switch it up a little bit. I put tuna on just like I guess it's a tuna salad, but just a tuna on a salad, fucking great, dude. Just regular salad, tuna instead of any of other meats. No other meats.
So my dad used to make it with like the Miracle Whip or whatever, I guess, I think. And like as a kid, I was like, the smell plus the way it looked, plus I think at one point I tasted it, I'm like, hell no. Like, and I refused to eat tuna for like 25 years or something, 20
Me too.
years.
That exact same thing happened to me, dude, honestly.
And then I think it might have been
gross.
Smitty who made it differently, or maybe it was just because I was so hungry and we've been out in the sun all day and drinking, and I was like, oh man, this is so good. Maybe I should give this a chance, you know? Okay.
No, same. I think with pickles, you got to go with the dill pickles instead of the sweet pickles.
Yeah, I still struggle with pickles, but sometimes I can handle it. But pickles are not my favorite thing.
Man, pickles, like I love pickles, but especially dill pickles, but the salt content on those motherfuckers, dude, like
Just make your calves swell, right?
Yeah, dude, the next day I wake up and I'm like Veruca salt. Like I'm just like like the pants are
You're like,
so
my fucking
tight.
ankles are bigger than my calves now. What is going on?
Yeah, dude, my socks are leaving an imprint down there on the old cankles, and
You're like, I need to get my compression socks on because this is bullshit. I'm gonna
seriously, I just can't. I cannot even eat them now because of that. It's crazy what you have to give up.
Russ, well, that's a good one, dude. I have many fine memories of that apartment that you lived in and playing Halo and losing my money in poker. And
yeah, man, that was a fun time.
So far, we've got 3 totally different genre. You know, we've got blues rock. We have like Austin country.
Just had death punk.
Yeah, and we'll have at least one more genre though. I think. Dave, did you pick 2 country songs? So we what's the next one?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, technically, I guess people would say it's country, but it's Willie. It's Willie Nelson.
Yeah. So
my second pick is beer number 4. If we're counting those. It is going back to the first album on Atlantic Records for the one and only Willie Nelson. It's actually his 16th record of his career. That record is Shotgun Willie, and the track that we have for you is another classic. Let's give Whiskey River a spin.
I'm drowning in a whiskey river, bathing my memory mind in the wetness of its soul. Feeling the amber current flowing from my mind, and leaving heart you left so cold. Whiskey River, take my mind, and don't let her memory torture me.
So it's interesting, like this record comes out of his disillusionment for the Nashville music scene. Like he was in a contract with RCA and he wasn't going to renew with them. Yeah, he just refused to sign an early extension on that. And so they're like, well, we're not releasing any more of your recordings. He's like, well, fuck you. I'm moving to Austin. And he moved to Austin and, started doing the stuff at the Armadillo World headquarters and like the Austin hippie kind of music or whatnot. And he just like really loved it. He was like, yeah, I'm sick and tired of dressing up in costumes to go on stage. Like, I don't want to cut my hair anymore. I just want to like get up in the jeans that I was wearing today and play the music that I want to play. And so he really thrived there. He went back up to Nashville for a thing and met Jerry Wexler, who is the VP of Atlantic Records, and they were starting a whole country music division or whatnot. And Jerry Wexler really wanted Willie to sign with them, and he's like, "Well, what are you going to do for me? He's like, well, I'm going to give you more creative control. You can do what you want to do. Like all the things that like you're not getting to do right now. And he's like, well, what if it's not, commercially successful? And he's like, fuck commercial, fuck commerce. You're going for art. You're going for truth. Willie was like, I'd never heard a record man talk like that. And on the spot decided that Wexler was his guy. So he got to bring in, family for his band, like Bobby, his sister, got to come in and play keys on that. It's a stripped down sound. B. Spears is doing that bass line that you were talking about, Fro. And it's just a loose, organic kind of sound. And it's a shift, a dynamic marked shift from this departure of that polished Nashville sound, and really brings in that bluesy, raw energy. So it wasn't immediately a commercial hit, well received, and like everyone now recognizes it for the classic that it is. Whiskey River is not actually Willie's song. It was written by Johnny Bush originally, and then covered by Willie Nelson. But it has become a signature song for him, and to the point that it's the signature opener for all of his concerts. And when he debuted on the pilot episode of Austin City Limits, it was the first song performed. So, first song of the Austin City Limits television show, which has been going on for 50 years now. That was the first song ever played there. So that's pretty kick-ass.
What year did this come out?
73 is when it was released. It was recorded in February of 73 and released in June of 73. Long-term implications on this, like his move there, it really started to build a thing that we now know as outlaw country. So it became this anthem for this persona. And then Shotgun Willie is the album that it's on. I love this story. Shotgun Willie is a song that he wrote like on the back of a sanitary napkin in a hotel room after being at a recording session that he really hated for like the whole day, and he was just pacing around his hotel room. And the story goes that it's about like a nickname that his daughter gave him because his son-in-law was abusing his daughter, and so he went over to the house and beat him up. And then like that son-in-law and his friends came to Willie's house and started shooting at the house with 22 caliber rifles. And so then Willie and his friend Nelson, they got out and they started shooting back and returning fire like with an M1 Garand like rifle from the Korean War. And they eventually surrendered. And so like it's about him. The opening track I really wanted to play, Shotgun Willie, but it doesn't actually talk about alcohol at all. It's just about he's sitting on the porch in his underwear with a bullet in his teeth, and he's just he got his long hair. The whole record's great. He covers Bob Wills on it twice. Bob Wills, king of the
Jews,
Western Swing,
nope.
And
sorry,
nope, Western Swing
with somebody else.
Yep, another great one. But I think this song is a classic drinking song. It definitely talks about this idea of how do we use alcohol to escape the pain of the ones that we've lost, or the sorrow that we have. Take the amber from my heart and put it into my brain, I think is a lyric on there that I like a lot. All right, well, so that's Willie Nelson. So glad I got to bring him on the pod and talk a little bit about one of my musical heroes.
We saw him in South Padre that one year. Remember that, Dave?
Oh, that was what I was going to say. No, the first time I saw Willie Nelson, I was actually with you, Russ. We went to the festival down over Halloween, I believe, in South Padre. And it was like, I guess at a Schlitterbahn. We were in the wave pool of a Schlitterbahn that had been all drained. And he was up on the edge of it. And it was amazing, and like I cried, and
that's cool.
It was awesome.
He's quite possibly the only person who in his life has smoked more weed than the artist that we're about to listen to right now.
That's a good segue, Geoff.
But before we get to that, we are going to take a little break. We're going to take a little break and chew some fat.
Let's take a break and chew the fat. Play that motherfucker.
Geoff, Russ, and Dave in the motherfucking chat. Chewing the fat. on stuff weird and whack.
Chewing the Fat today is brought to us by 1-800-CARS-FOR-CATS. Do you have an old car or boat in your driveway taking up precious parking space? Call 1-800-CARS-FOR-CATS and we'll come pick it up. Your donation will be sold at auction and you'll receive a tax deduction for the full value of the sale. That money raised will go to support local cat shelters and services in your area. Do yourself and the strays in your alley a solid and get that junk off your property. Give 1-800-CARS-FOR-CATS a call today. All right. Thanks, Dixie. We do got to do like Bob Barker says and spay and neuter our pets. They are doing the Lord's work out there.
You know, I was thinking about the rise of mocktails.
Yeah.
Was having a hard time understanding how like that was happening until I was like, oh, it's because they're taking something else. And they still want to go to the bar and have like the bar experience, but they're on like gummies or something else. And that's why it works.
That makes sense.
Okay.
You get a bunch of young people going there drinking mocktails. Like it's like everyone's just having a soda. Like, I don't get it. But if everybody's on something else and I think it works. And there's like, okay,
everybody's just pilling out before they go.
Pill or gummy.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. W's out there just like in a K-hole. He's like, I'm going to have a mocktail because I'm already like tranked out.
I can't figure like if it's, I obviously, you know, I'm going to say this, but I don't get it. I would never drink a mocktail. They cost as much as regular alcoholic drinks and
it's juice, right? Yeah.
And it's basically juice. Yeah. And so like if I was going to drink a mocktail, I'd just drink like a root beer. Cause like there's nothing in the world that tastes better than a root beer or a root beer cream soda root beer. Holy shit. To me, to my mouth and face, that's the best tasting thing.
Yeah.
I don't drink them because they're terrible for you. Like I don't need all that sugar. But if I was, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to drink some like elderflower concoction or some shit. So I feel like I'm drinking alcohol. Fuck that.
Cucumber water spritz with a mint leaf in it.
Yeah,
no
way,
give me a
dude.
fucking Dr. Pepper. Like,
yes. If we're just drinking calories, then I'm not going mocktail on it. But I get it. I get why other people that are teetotaling do it and all that stuff. It's just so like.
Or if you have, you get hangovers like seriously bad, like, and so you're like, well, I don't drink. You want to go to a place and not look like you're the odd man out, So if you drink something that looks like a drink, no one's questioning whether there's something in it or not. So, I mean, I think it definitely has its purposes, but
yeah, that's a pretty fucked up thing about our society, though. That's like you get outcasted for not drinking. Like that's weird.
This is what my man's saying.
Yeah.
My man Edward Slingerland is saying, yeah, you're ostracized if you're like out and you're not drinking because drinking greases the wheels of social interaction. And so if you're out just, no, I'm not going to do it or whatever, then it's, it sucks. like we can, we'll have to do other social things together, like play sports, but it's hard for people just to sit around like adults to just sit around and talk and enjoy each other's company without any substance involved whatsoever. Like that is just a hard thing. You have to be eating, you have to be drinking, you have to have something that's occupying your brain. Like just sitting sober as shit and staring somebody in the eye and just having a conversation for like 2 hours. Doesn't that like make you feel some dread?
Yeah. Have we just become less tolerant of people as a society? We really need something to kind of take the edge off and just tolerate like being in the same space as somebody. Like, all right. Yeah.
No, there's no change here. We've always had the drink. We've always had the beer to go along with that. Like, or wine.
Yeah.
You drink wine and eat cheese and then hanging out and talking to somebody is awesome. But if they're just if they're just over and you're all like just sitting around and chatting and there's no like cigarettes to smoke or cheese to eat or booze to drink or drugs to do, then you're just all stressed out. Right?
Yeah.
Like, Does that not resonate with you?
And then they start talking about why they support Israel, and you're just like, good God, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not particularly fun to argue when you're sober, you know? It's kind of a lot of fun when you're drunk. Dave just picks fights about Wilco when he's drunk.
I was going to say, like, I'm not as convincing as I maybe think that I am when I'm having those conversations about Wilco.
And now back to Six Picks Music Club.
All right, so that was a good segue. Frodo, tell us more about this next artist and what we have up on the playlist.
I don't think he's a man that doesn't really need an introduction, but this is an all-time drinking song, motherfuckers. This is Gin and Juice by the one and only Snoop Doggy Dogg.
With so much drama in the LBC, it's kinda hard being Snoop D-O-double-G, but I somehow, some way keep coming up with funky ass shit like every single day. May I kick a little something for the G's and make a few ends as I breeze through 2 in the morning and the party still jumping cause my mama ain't home. I got bitches in the living room getting it on and they ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. So what you wanna do? Shit, I got a pocket full of rubbers and my homeboys do too. So turn off the lights and close the doors.
The last part of the chorus is an example of anti-metaboly.
Tell me what that is.
It's where you say, with my mind on my money, and then you flip the words around in the phrase, and my money on my mind. So you're turning the words around.
Is that like a palindrome?
Not really. It's an anti-metaboly. I think I already just said that. God damn it, dude. So other examples would be like, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Or all crime is vulgar, just as all vulgarity is crime. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Taco Cat.
Mr. Owl ate my metal worm.
That's a palindrome.
Yeah.
Anyway, like if you put this song on, doesn't it make you want to have a drink and smoke a little reefer? I mean, it's just like, what a mood-setting little number this is, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're just rolling down the street. First off, you're drinking and driving, and you know we've talked about drinking and driving on this pod before.
Well, maybe you're the passenger. What if you're the passenger?
Okay, you're still drinking in a car.
Okay, that's legal some places.
Some places. But anyway, you're rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice. Is there a better thing to be doing than that? Hard to imagine. You're out there with your friend. You're not doing it by yourself if you already have a problem. If you're with other people, you're just having good party time. And they're rolling slow, by the way. We're not driving fast out there. We're rolling slow, smoking Indo. You know, we're stoned, so we're going super slow, but just a little sips of gin and juice. Not even a lot. But man, awesome. I was a debater in high school, and there were these other debaters named, it was Kyle Geis, and his partner was named something Chen, Chen, and they got like third place at the debate tournament. I probably got first, by the way, but they got like third place, and we're all sitting at the award ceremony. They're like, and in third place are Chen and Juice from Pineville High School. And dude, every single kid in the audience was like sipping on gin and juice, laid back. Like we all like hit it in unison right after that, because it's obviously supposed to be Chin and Geis, but they said it wrong. And dude, we just were all sipping on gin and juice from there on out. Yeah, pretty great. Yeah, dude. Just an all-time kicking it song. This one, you know.
Gosh, there was another band that did this with another hip hop song, another rap song of the era, but the Gourds did that country kind of cover of this.
Was it fast and bluegrass like
yeah.
Ding, 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 yeah.
Sipping on gin and juice, laid back.
Sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my money on my money on my. Yeah, I've heard that.
What about the river they chipped in? No, it's but it's still very fun. It's still very like let's go party. Like I think both versions elicit a similar let's go kind of element.
Yeah, and there's another thing about this is like there are a lot of rap or hip hop songs that are about smoking weed and doing drugs and shit, but there aren't a lot of them that are about drinking, that are named about drinking, you know? This one, like, Tanqueray is getting name dropped, and like there's always drinking going on, but I guess like Tone Loc had Funky Cold Medina, which is kind of about drinking, sort of a love potion, but this is a song that's like,
well, and your guys had the scissorp and the purple and that kind of thing. So it's like it's there.
That's true,
but it's not as prevalent. I would say like definitely the Sticky Icky takes center stage. I don't know, Sipping on Yak, that's in there. Forefront track about getting a drink.
Yeah. I like that he owns up to he had to back up off the cup or sit the cup down.
Yeah.
Tanqueray and Chronic. Yeah, I'm fucked up now.
Yeah.
Like I've had a little too much. I'm gonna take it easy for a second. He's talking about drinking responsibly.
Been going hard all day, so like maybe let's slow it down a little bit. I also do really love how they promote safe sex in the song. You know, I got a pocket full of rubbers and my homeboys do too. So we're here to
so turn off the lights and close the door.
Yeah.
But for why? Because we don't love them hoes.
No, it's
I also really I love the rhyme bubonic chronic. Like that's so good.
Yeah.
Like he came over with a fat ass J with some bubonic chronic that made me choke. Shit, this ain't no joke. Like this stuff is bubonic.
Right. So was it like did they have a flea that delivered it to them? Was it rats?
Yeah, I think that's what
the
it is.
dealers rats.
Okay, so this is something that's always concerned me about the song. I could hear different perspectives about this, but he goes 80 degrees when I tell that bitch please raise up off these NUTs cause you gets none of these at ease. Okay? He means 180 degrees, right? Because he's doing like a heel turn. He's going the opposite direction.
Okay.
Right? Isn't that what he means? What does 80 degrees mean? Is my question.
It's just like a nice temperature for Southern California.
Isn't it like it's his body temperature? Like he's 80 degrees. He's so cool when he like kicks it to the curb that he might as well be dead. He's like, I'm 80 degrees. Like, so
his
cool.
body is 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's way too cold it's like hypothermic.
But that's what he's saying. He's so cold.
You get none of that, I guess.
Yeah, I think this is an all-time drinking song and probably the number one hip-hop drinking song. Can you think of
I can't think of another
hip-hop drinking song that outranks this. This has got to be the top dog because, there's songs about drinking, maybe sipping on some scissorp, is up there.
No, I think you are the top DOGG there on the drinking songs from hip-hop. So well done, sir. Well done. But that brings us to the tit pick of tonight, rounding us out. That is the 6th pick of 6 Picks Music Club, the titular pick, and we are handing that one to Russ tonight with another great track. What do you got for me, Russ?
Okay, I've got Drink Till I Die by the Poxy Boggards off their 2008 album Anchor Management.
'Tis 3:30 and the chill is gone. It's the longest binge I've ever been on. Had so many pints, my mind stupefied. But through all the haze, I still hear them cry. Drink, motherfucker, drink. A curse to your land, a curse on your head. Drinking pint after pint until I am dead. I just keep drinking and I don't know why. But tonight is the night that I drink till I die. It's 1:45.
That's just fun.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so These guys were formed in 1994 in California, and so the Poxy Boggards are they're a folk band consisting of 13 members who all sing and play instruments.
Oh, wow.
They found success in the re-burgeoning Irish folk movement, which I didn't even know was happening, but that's where they found...
Is it the third one? The third wave of Irish folk revival?
Albus Brown.
It's his brother. It's Albino's brother, Albus. They refer to themselves as a drinking group with a singing problem. And as far as I know, they're still together, and they were playing shows as recent as last year. So I think that this is just like, I don't know, this is a thing that they've been doing for like 30 plus years, and which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
They have a ton of like body songs. So if you're into humorous folk, like check them out. For instance, they have a song called The Rooster, the Donkey, the Dog, and the Cat. And like the whole joke is that they're singing about the animals, but they refer to them as cock, ass, bitch, and pussy. And the lyrics could go both ways. It's just, and it's short and sweet, and it's good to put a smile on your face and, to switch things up a little bit. So their music has been described as like a mix of tight, right harmonies, rocking instrumentation with traditional folk instruments, and irreverent, often shocking sense of humor and a lack of decorum. So, right up my alley. Which leads me to this song, which is about this ridiculous drinking binge. The song starts and it's 3 a.m. He's on the longest binge he's ever been on, and we don't know when it started, but each verse takes place later on. Verse 2 is at 5 a.m. and he's still going strong. Verse 3 is 6 a.m. and he can't remember his name and is commenting on the stink of the puke that's on the floor. But he isn't giving up yet. And then finally, verse 4 comes in, and it's noon the next day, where he collapses onto the floor and sees the devil, or old Nick, as they call him, waiting to take him to hell.
I get Ren Fair vibes from this, or pirate vibes. I feel like there's costumery.
Yeah, it's like sea shanty-ish.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the ridiculousness of this song. I also like how shanty it is, and how many times they say motherfucker in this song, which is fun.
That's a Sam Jackson level of motherfuckers right there.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't seem like that's what you're going to get from the song, and then you get it all the way through, which is great. And I also love that there's 4 different vocalists singing for like the same protagonist or whatever, same character. Like you've got 4 different people singing like that character per verse, so which is also kind of fun and unique in its own way. Thinking about binge drinking, you set out to, I don't know, just drink, and it's going to be a long haul, and you're prepared for it, and you got to be smart about it, right? Because you can't drink the wrong stuff too soon, or else you're done. I had some pretty good drinking binges in my youth, and then but I've also had some pretty bad ones, and then as I stopped binging as I got older, anytime I got anywhere close to what could have been somewhat of a binge, whatever, hours long drinking or whatever, like if I wasn't smart about it, like I would like sink myself too soon. So I feel like I got worse at the binge drinking in my life. The one where Dave, you and me and Smitty hung out, because whatever, like 6 years ago, that was not a pretty one at all.
Oh yeah, we went to the Ween show. I remember that.
No, not the Ween show. It was like we did the skydiving thing in the beginning. That
for your birthday, right. Yeah.
And then we went to Pine House, and then I went heavy early.
There were some tears that night. I feel
man,
like there was some arguments.
Bad one, yeah. It was an ugly.
And then he drove back
binge.
to San Antonio. Maybe is that right?
Yeah, I think he did. Ugh.
Bad choices.
I ended up puking all over myself in the Uber on the way home, I think. So that was awesome. I like puked in my shirt.
Did they charge you like a cleanup fee for that?
No, because he cleaned it all up for me, I believe.
Smitty did?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys shared an Uber.
Well, his car,
Was his car at your house and y'all Ubered back to your house and then he drove from your house to San Antonio? Is that?
It must have been what happened. I actually couldn't even tell you what happened.
How are we alive? How are any of us alive? This is insane.
It's a good question.
Good God. Well, I do like how many times they are really just yelling at you to drink, motherfucker, drink. That's pretty fun. I thought the binge drinking thing was a was purely a Denton, Texas thing. But as I moved away from Denton, I realized, nope, that's everyone everywhere. So you can find that in any city. And thank God we've got Waymo, so you don't have to actually talk to anybody while you're throwing up on yourself in the car. It's a driverless car. They've got to have a sensor or something, right? That says like, oh, vomit was expelled. If you throw up in a Waymo, like what? How do you get billed there? How do they know?
I don't know.
What's a Waymo?
It's one of those driverless Ubers. Like there's no driver.
Oh, the driverless.
Yeah, they have them here in Austin now.
That's a good question.
How often do you take those?
Well, so never. But if I was like binge drinking, blackout drinking, then like maybe that would be the way to go though. Because like then you're not telling embarrassing stories to somebody. You're not throwing up on somebody. You're just throwing up on a robot, and fuck robots, right? So I don't know.
That's a really good point.
Listener, if you have experienced the Waymo, please write in and let us know your experience because this is the future. We're just living in it. And I'm 40. I'm a man. I'm 40. I don't know how these things work. But that was fun. So dude is he's a game designer. You know about this?
No. Which one? Who are we talking about? Which one of the 13 are we talking about?
The main guy who founded the band.
Is it Stuart Venable or Bill Roper?
Bill Roper. Bill Roper is like a creative director for Blizzard Entertainment. Like he made the
I did know
Warcraft games.
That. Yes.
And so like
right.
Warcraft is this whole sort of like medieval times kind of kill orcs and things. And so
doesn't it sound like he's like that's a porn name, Bill Roper? Just like ropes of cum.
Oh yeah, that is kind of a cum name for sure. Yeah.
I thought we had a cum free
episode.
episode.
We got to the very end. We got to the
bitter
very end and
then Russ heard the word rope.
Roper got us with Roper.
That's all he needed.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight at Six Picks Music Club.
That's all you had to do 5 seconds ago, and it would have been fine. We would have done it.
Yeah. That's why we say that. That's why we recorded for 3.5 fucking hours so that we could finally get to
Bill Roper. Thanks for getting sloppy with us today, and thanks for bringing the Rumplemans, Jamie. I already regret it. Shoot us an email and let us know what your friends think. I am drinking Rumplemans. Shoot us an email and let us know what your favorite drinking songs are. We'll read it on the air. This week we got one from MJ in Buda, and they write, "You do a rap episode and you don't do a Dead Prez track. You are the whitest dudes to ever do a podcast, which is the least surprising thing ever. If you haven't tried it, microdosing mushrooms at shows is way better than drinking. Don't say I didn't tell you so. If you see this band, Rickshaw Billy's Burger Patrol come through, go see that shit. Dude is like a Freddie Mercury, Les Claypool, Beastie Boys mashup of a singer. Opening track on their Doom Wop record, Shoe In, is greatness." Thank you, MJ. Jeffro has talked about the glory of microdosing mushies, and we all are very white and liberally apply sunscreen, so thanks so much. You know I love a good show. I'll keep an eye out for Rickshaw Billy's Burger Patrol, and we will jam that one on the way out the door today. All of today's songs are on the Spotify playlist in the show notes, so give them a spin. And thanks as always to Shell and Death Squad for our opening music. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, play it loud and keep jamming. This episode of Six Picks Music Club was produced by Cole Ostame. Edited by Mel K-Tits. With special thanks to Dixie Records.